Hey guys, how we doing? And welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time, I certainly encourage you to go back and check out some of the videos from the Ricoh GR3, especially the street videos. I've got a lot more of those coming up. If you're a Ricoh user, don't fret. A lot of these coming up. I've taken the last couple weeks off, had some things going on personally, needed to attend to. Wasn't able to keep up with the videos to keep those coming out weekly, but I will be getting back out. The point of this video is I wanted to talk about why it takes 3 cameras, actually 4 cameras, for me to not have what you would call a creator's block or a creative block or what have you. Probably the funnest camera I have is the Ricoh GR3. I've modified it here with the GA1 coupler. I've got this little thumb grip on the back. Works out great for me. I love this camera for street photography. I've used it, as you'll see in some of my videos, for other things as well, but really, it really shines when it comes to street photography. That's when this camera really comes alive. Typically, I'll hold it like this and walk around and shoot, and it's a great camera for street photography. Very discreet, very stealthy, very nice. As you'll see in my videos, I love this camera. And just like any camera, of course, there could be modifications, things that could be changed to this. I'm not thrilled with this little back wheel and some other things about it, but nonetheless, it keeps the creative juices flowing. I really like this camera, but I can't only use one camera. And it's not about going out and spending a lot of money. The other staple in my corral, I guess you'd say, or whatever, bad analogy, is my Canon EOS RP. That's what I'm using right now to film this with, and that's what I use for a lot of the videos like this. And the Canon EOS RP is a full frame camera. It's kind of what I would call my workhorse, like the family station wagon or the pickup truck or whatever. Whenever I need to go do a job, that's immediately the camera I will grab because it's full frame. I can get a lot of bokeh if I want. It's great for portraiture in that aspect, but it's also a full frame camera, which for commercial work, real estate, it's very, very helpful. Now, one thing I will add is the Canon EOS RP does not have 2 card slots. If you're shooting weddings and things like that, you want 2 card slots as a backup. It does not have that. That's probably the main and only deficiency of this Canon EOS RP as a photographer, in my opinion. I use it for video for, basically I shoot 30 frames per second, so it's fine for me. I don't need 4K video and all that, so the Canon EOS RP works great for that. Now, what else do we have in the arsenal? I recently just kind of went through a little spurt where I bought a Fuji X-T3. The body only was $1,200. Then you add a lens, a 16 to 80, let's say a nice quality all-around zoom lens, about $600. You've got an $1,900 system there, and it's an APS-C sensor. It was not something I was going to use for work, so it was way overkill, and I just did not need it. So I sent it back. Again, that was $1,200 body, in favor of an XT1. Now the XT1, I picked this up for $350 here in Indianapolis from Roberts Camera. You can go online, find them on eBay or robertscamera.com. They do a great job with their used gear because they clean everything. You have a lot of confidence when you buy from them that it's not, going to be junk or whatever. And this thing, I mean, it might as well have been new. It's awesome. I picked up with it a 16 to 50 lens. It's a kit lens. And actually, this one is the less expensive, what is it, an XC 16 to 50, 3.5 to 5.6, which means that when you are at 16 millimeters, you're at 3.5. Immediately when you get to about 20 millimeters, it'll jump to 4.5. And when you've got it fully extended at 50, the lowest aperture you can have is 5.6, but of course it does go up to f/22. So anyway, I don't want to get into the specs of this camera, but why I bought this camera, I'll show you here. This is like a boutique camera. It's a really cool camera. It's kind of an old school with the dials on the top that you can use. You don't have to. I have actually got it set up when I need to, get the controls quickly. I've got it set up like my EOS RP, where I've got the shutter actually up here on the front dial, and I've got the aperture on the back dial. This particular lens does not have an aperture ring like a lot of Fuji lenses do, but I'm kind of used to that with the Canon and my other cameras, so that does not bother me at all. Okay, so why did I get this camera? Well, at first, the reason I was looking at Fuji in the first place was because I wanted a water-resistant or water-sealed, waterproof camera. Weather-resistant, weather-sealed. And the Canon EOS RP is supposed to be weather-resistant. There's a difference between weather resistant and weather sealed. It's supposed to be weather resistant. I'm not taking out I paid $1,000 for the lens and the camera. I got a heck of a deal last year. I don't think you can find those for less than $12.99 now with that 24 to 105 f4 to 7.1 kit lens. It works great for my work. But I don't want to take that camera out into the dirt and dust and blowing sand on a beach. I want to go up to Indiana shores up Lake Michigan and into Michigan and shoot lighthouses, and I want to shoot the crashing water, you know, big waves and things like that. And of course that's going to be bad weather. You're going to have sand blowing around everywhere, and I'm just not going to take my Canon EOS RP into that situation, and then the next day maybe have to go shoot you know, a $300,000 home or $400,000 home, and you got grains of sand and everything kind of gritty in there or whatever, because it's not technically sealed for that. What weather resistant means on most cameras is, you know, the bodies are made to where you can get, you know, a little rain, moisture, maybe some cold, and it won't crack or anything, and the moisture won't seep into the camera, but it doesn't technically seal it from this stuff, so you can't hold it underwater. So that's why I was looking at the Fuji cameras, was because they were supposed to be better and weather sealed and stuff, but technically they're really not even weather sealed. The XT1 says weather resistant and that you can take it out into the cold and rain and things like that. But I know, for instance, this lens, being a cheap lens, I got it for $170, but it works great. It's a great piece of glass, but it's not weather sealed or even weather resistant. So can't take this, but I like this camera. I've already done some street photography with this camera. It's a really cool little camera. I also got the thumb grip for this too. You want to pick one of those up. It's in the description below. These things are great. I've got one for this camera. I've got one for my Ricoh, and what it does, it enables you not to have to put your hand back here on or your thumbs back here on the camera when you're walking around. You hold it like this, and I really like that. So this would be the fun camera. I didn't need this, but that's why I picked it up. Now, I mentioned the Lake Michigan and the water and that, you would never dump water in your camera. Check this video out. This guy, and sorry, I don't have the name. I don't think he goes by a regular name. He's just got an internet or a YouTube name, but he gave me permission to use this to show you how this Pentax K70, the Pentax K70, is actually weather sealed. That means the little rubber grommets and things like that, or washers or whatever they call it, in every little crevice and everything. So in theory, you should not be getting any water, any sand, dirt, dust, anything like that in this camera. This is a really cool camera. I like this because of that. I can't wait for just a terrible, nasty day to take this out and do some street photography and things, because that's what this is for. The one thing real quick, by the way, whether you have a weather resistant, weather sealed camera, anything like that, if you're using a zoom, which is not the most advisable thing to use on a rainy day or whatever, because when this barrel gets wet and then you retract it, that moisture is going into the lens. Now again, it's weather sealed, so it won't get into the camera, but that's going to stay wet, and so every time you zoom out and it rains on that lens, even though it's not going to hurt it, when you zoom back in, it's going to bring all that in there. And then if you put this in your camera bag and go away and all that for a few days, that's going to be a lot of mold, mildew, moisture, things like that. That's just on this part here. So that's what this camera is for. Oh, by the way, for this Pentax K1000, I paid a total of $470 with the lens. So again, a very good deal. So I paid $520 for the Fuji system, and I paid $470 for this one. So for about $1,000, I picked up both of these cameras. I'd say that's and I got a lot of fun. I got a little different reasons to use it. Now when it rains, I'm waiting for it to rain. Of course, now the next 10 days, the forecast is, you know, sunny. But once it rains, or if Michigan gets rain, I'm heading up that way. This is good for street photography if I want to just go out and play around, have some fun, just different creative. It gets the different creative juices flowing. You know, when you use you don't need all these cameras at all, but you know, it's just hard for me as a longtime photographer, a working photographer, to have only one camera. It's just not realistic. But they all have a specific use, and they all help that creative juice get flowing. So hopefully that explains. Now on this channel where we're going, Of course, predominantly done the Ricoh GR3, and some Canon EOS RP, but I will be doing more of these. That's why I got these. So there'll be more of these coming. I've got a street photography video coming on the Fuji here that I just went out and did, and just got some great shots with it. Not taking anything away from my Ricoh. I'll still be using it. Matter of fact, I don't know if I'll be able to get out today or not, but the Ricoh videos will be back online as well. So, and then when we get the storms, boom, we're here. And when I go to work, I got my workhorse there, that old reliable Canon EOS RP that does the job. So, okay, guys, that's about it. I just wanted to let you know where I was going, what I was working with, what's happening with the channel. These will be included in the channel so we can have some variety, have some fun, and I hope you'll stay tuned. I hope you'll subscribe, and I hope you'll like this video, and go back and check out some of the other POV videos. Again, regardless of what kind of camera you have, it's fun to go around and take street photography images, and regardless of the camera, you can always learn something by watching other people do that. So that's the beauty of YouTube. So again, guys, I do appreciate it, and we'll see you on the next one.